Can't believe it. Can't believe it's that time already. 3 o'clock here on the West Coast, 6 o'clock for you guys on the East Coast. Welcome, 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 friends, patriots, people who want to make a difference and change the trajectory of our country. Robert Imbriali here. So happy to be back with you. I just want to say a great note of gratitude to Lewis for taking over last week when I was in the process of moving, and also for Lisa for stepping up and helping with the production. Thank you guys. You guys were amazing. Shows were unreal. I still have not finished watching all the shows, but boy, there's some really good content, which brings us to where we're going with our show, and you're going to see a lot more great content coming up. We're going to have some amazing guests on, and it's just going to be so much fun. So first of all, Lewis, the first time I talked to him after the New Year, he said, "Happy fake New Year." So I'm going to say that to you. Happy fake New Year to all of you as well, because, well, we know the game. And if you saw Lewis's video, the one he shared during the Truthathon, that thing went viral. I saw people sharing that all over the place. It was on Twitter. It was on TikTok. It was, I found it a couple of places on Facebook. So Lewis did a great job at explaining exactly why New Year is actually fake. All right, without further ado, I think we should bring Lewis in. What do you think? Yeah, let's do it. Hey, Lewis, how are you, my friend?
Lewis who?
Lewis Herms, the one, the only.
Whatever. Nice to see you, Robert. Hey, good news. Not to put the pressure on, but we did I believe it was 5 shows in a row where we were in the top 10 on live on Rumble.
Whoo!
And then we never hit it before the Truthathon, and now we've been consistently hitting it every time after that. So that's phenomenal.
I think they noticed who we are now, and they said, "Hey, this is some good content. Maybe we should push this up to the top." Yeah. We were actually, during the Truthathon, Lewis, I don't know if you noticed that shot that I shared. I didn't pick it up until later. It's like we were number 1, number 5, and number 8 of the top 10 on the day of the Truthathon.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's the sad part is we didn't get that top spot until 10 minutes after I complained about it live, that why aren't we ranking? Now, I mean, that's the ultimate conspiracy. If we call them out and then they go, okay, let's fix this, and the next thing you're ranked. So I don't know. That could have been actually a coincidence, and I know we don't believe coincidences, but it sure was crazy. Within minutes after me complaining, next thing you know, oh, there we are.
You know, they could have had somebody from Rumble watching.
That's the only thing I could think of, unless it was just a coincidence, because it flipped so quickly afterwards.
I mean, overall, are you a fan of Rumble or are you not a fan of Rumble? What do you think? A scale of 1 to 10.
Well, I'm a fan of Rumble from how much I'm a 10 for as much progress as they made in the short time.
Yeah.
A 7 for the functionality of Rumble. They've done a lot better than they were. They're probably a 4 just a year ago. On the fact how they're not protecting their systems enough, or they're infiltrated themselves, I'm like a 3 now. Because I'm not comfortable with the shadow banning and things that are going on my channel, which we can track. We track this stuff. And it's just sad that we get a lot more views than we get credit for.
It is the conversation of a lot of creators on Rumble are saying the same thing. They're saying, I feel like my views should be higher. The channel's not growing. It's the same refrain. Everyone's saying the same thing. So there are some issues there. That note in the Fulford report, I think I sent it to you last week, of who is actually one of the funders, the big funders of Rumble. It's the BlackRock Vanguard world again. It's
right.
It's so
well.
You can't really control that. I don't think as a company you can control how many shares, if you're out there in the public, they're going to buy the shares, right?
Well, no, but what you can control is whether you go public or not. Mm-hmm. And if you remember when Rumble decided to go on NASDAQ, I was very concerned about that, because I understand when you start being you have to answer to your shareholders. That doesn't always mean the best for the consumers themselves. Especially if it's a BlackRock or a Vanguard, which are just despicable cabal companies.
Yep. And they take over these companies, they fund them, they give them the financing they need, and then they start to control them after a period of time.
That's
You get
right.
comfortable getting the financing, and a lot of them. I mean, you look at any of these big companies that started off altruistic and wanting to be, in service to their customers. So many companies have turned their back. We talked about Starbucks on Friday. I was in Starbucks last week, in one of the busier stores right next to a Costco, and I go in. There's all these moving boxes in the front from U-Haul. I'm like, okay, this store is not doing good. Two people in the store. They're $11 billion down in market cap in the last year alone.
Well, it's interesting you'd say that because I would like it to entertainers. It's the same thing. So
Mhm.
you have entertainers that are very good. You have comedians that do a fantastic job, and then the deep state gets their hands on them, and then they start manipulating their content and tell them how they need to talk outside of the comedy routines. They do it the same thing with the singers. They completely corrupt them with the so-called movie stars. They get them all compromised. They get them on drugs. They do something with the compromises. So what happens is when these brands are growing on their own, the bad guys, they always step in and come in and twist it, manipulate it, and do everything you can. I would even venture to say that some people that we think are bad now, maybe were not bad before,
Mhm.
right? But they got compromised and now they do bad stuff. And they may have just given up. Forget it. I might as well just be evil because I'm going to hell anyways.
Well,
I mean,
they
I just wonder what their mentality is.
Well, they own them after a certain point, right? So a singer
They
is not,
do.
they don't own their own material. They write for, they're basically employees, and they're controlled by their agents and their publisher and all the rest of that. So they have to act a certain way. They have to do certain things. And if those things are nefarious, sometimes it's like, well, the ego, the fame, the money, it just may be
Mhm.
too much, and they'll just go along with it, not realizing they're taking them step by step down this alternate path that maybe they didn't have any intention to go, and all of a sudden they find themselves there. You got to look at it from, I don't know. Maybe you don't have to look at it. Maybe it is just the way it is. Maybe that's just the way that world works. You know.
Well, yeah, but for a great example is you see all these pictures of these entertainers with one eye symbolism,
Hmm.
where they're covering one eye intentional, and everybody thinks that's the actor, the singer, the athlete, and so on and so forth. I'm going to tell you, people may be shocked. Half the time they don't even know. They're in a photo shoot. And then the photo shoot, here's the game. The person taking the producer is the cabal person. And they're saying, okay, we need at least one photo with them covering one of their eyes. So what they'll do is like, okay, put on a hat, do this, do this. Okay, now put your shoulders like this, puff out your chest like a turn sideways. Okay, cover one eye. Boom, 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 boom. But all they really care about is,
Yep.
and then later a lot of these entertainers get compromised after that. And like, okay, so you're in the club. Here's what this means, so on and so forth. And we've got this, this, and this on you. Now you need to do what we say. It's really sad because I know
Yep.
entertainers years ago that got in the business, and I know they were good people. Um, I don't know if they've been compromised or not because I haven't been in touch with them. But my point is, there's a lot of people that go in with good intentions into entertainment and sports and so on and so forth. But there's a certain level where if you reach some success, they're going to put their hooks into you. And you'll be gone, by the way, too. That's the other thing. If you decide that you're not going to go along with the plan,
You're
well,
done.
then
Yep.
you're
It's
blackballed.
over.
And they
Yep.
do that. They do that in sports too.
Hmm. Yeah. So we better not get too popular here.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for they come after me. That'll be a fun discussion. I might just record
Here are
it.
some stories we absolutely want you guys to cover today, and we'll be like, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, not happening.
Here's what we're going to say. No, we're not going to say anything. We're getting out of here. Should we talk about Speaker Johnson? The very Bannon did 2 solid hours talking about this morning, and how just out there this whole thing was.
Can
Crazy.
I have an I told you so moment
Yes, you
finally?
may
I'm just
take
going
it.
to say it. The day Johnson got all those votes from the Republican, I said, this is a deep state guy and you need to really watch him because this is not going to work out well for you. And I got so much crap for it. Oh my God, we Republicans, we finally got to win, blah, 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 right? How could you be thinking like that, Lewis? Oh, here you go. Guys, you cannot trust the politicians. There is no red, there is no blue, there's no Republican, there's no Democrat. There's a uniparty. They're all actors playing a part.
Yep.
And you're just watching a movie, whether it's the bad movie or the good movie, you choose, but you're watching a movie. They're playing a part. And I knew you couldn't have trusted this guy. And sure enough, well, he said it though before the day before. He says, I'll find a way to fund Ukraine. I'm like, whoa, okay.
But you saw it already cracking. I mean, like you said early on, we saw it. We saw that he was not going to be. He's just another one with no backbone, and it's like we don't need wet noodles in power anymore. We need people who are strong, and I just don't see it anywhere in there.
Well, how laughable is it that the one that formed this budget that they're signing on to was Kevin McCarthy, the one that got ousted as the speaker.
It's exactly the same budget. Didn't change.
Yep. And he cut the deal with the White House.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Come on, man.
You know right away, Biden's all excited about it, right?
Yes.
Schumer's all excited about it. This is great.
Yes.
We'll just sign this thing, no problem.
And Johnson's like, "Oh, this is great." Oh, no, it's not. But let the government shut down, guys. Have some courage. But we're talking to actors, so they're not gonna listen to us.
Yeah.
This is why we have to work on our lower levels. It's our lower level politicians and our communities and our counties and our cities. This is where our focus needs to be, guys. You keep looking at the federal level, you're getting nothing done. Nothing. They're all compromised.
We have, if you take the vote away, that really is the only lever that we have of power to change it. And that lever is gone. It doesn't work anymore. You can push it all day long. It doesn't work. Now, it doesn't mean you don't go and vote. Obviously, you want to keep that going. But that lever it's compromised now. So it's not connected. It's like, yeah, push the button all day long, but it doesn't do anything. It's not it's not counting, or it counts for the other guy, or it counts twice, or you know what I mean? It's just, you have no idea what's going on. So in Zero Hedge, they're talking about this. They're saying, let's see if this sticks. Johnson and the Democrats' biggest challenge will be the White House conservatives, or the House conservatives, who have opposed earlier debt ceiling agreements over lack of spending. That said, this agreement is separate from funding for Israel and Ukraine, a growing sticking point among some Republicans, obviously. January 19th is less than 2 weeks away, but the real deadline is actually February 3rd. And there are a lot of people, including Bannon and a lot of them, who are now saying you either shut down the border or shut down the government. And there's no funding in here for the border. There's not one word in this about the border at all. So
what?
Hard to know.
No.
Hard to know.
Go figure, huh? No funding to help the border.
Yeah, well, if there was funding, it would just be to process. It wouldn't be to stop anything.
Right.
You know?
That is right.
We live in very strange and complicated times, and Mondays are always, you get this avalanche of stuff coming up and boiling up, and there were stories today in so many different directions, and there was just the breaking story of the hotel explosion there in Texas now that's coming up, so we'll see what that's about. They're calling it a mass casualty event, which could mean 10, but who knows? You know what the number is there. So this will be interesting to see if we get to government shutdown. Government shutdown means nothing. You can't go to the parks. Really, all it means, everyone in Congress still gets paid. Social Security checks still go out. What's it really mean today anymore?
Well, you can actually go to the parks and you can go for free. You just have to walk around the security gate that nobody's manning.
That's right. There's nobody there. No problem. I like that idea.
Free entry during government shutdowns. Go hunt deer on public land. They'll never know about it.
They'll never know. So the Republicans can always punt with another temporary and clean continuing resolution, which they did before, another CR. McCarthy did the CR with no spending cap, which was never done before. He just gave it a date, an end date. That was all, but there was no amount they couldn't spend. And we've added, $1 trillion in deficit spending in the last 90 days alone. So it makes me wonder about the deficit. Is it real, or is it just numbers on a spreadsheet?
Does it even matter anymore? I mean, the reality is we have fighting age males in the millions pouring over the border. It appears like there is a rule that I'm investigating inside the Army that they can actually bring illegal aliens in as part of our military, where they will give them an ID, they will give them a job. So now what we do is we have a force of Army that doesn't like Americans, that can get conscripted into the army, and then they'll take orders to fire against U.S. citizens.
Correct. Yeah.
And it doesn't look like that's a fake. That looks like it's an actual real deal and a loophole that's
It's a
in there.
loophole, exactly. And they need to fill, because they have the enrollments are way down in the military, so now they need to fill those positions, and that's one way they'll do it. What did you think of 107's positing on why the illegals are coming in, and they're here to literally create chaos in every one of the cities, the big cities?
Well, yeah, we kind of talked about this about a year ago,
Hmm.
Michael Jaco and I. By the way, guys, Michael Jaco and Alan Fountain will be on our show tomorrow. We're going to be interviewing them at the same time
Oh,
as
wow.
today. And we're going to do that
This news to me.
myself.
Hey, breaking
And
news.
yes, hey, Robert, here you go. And we're going to go down the mystic route, guys. So I think you're really going to love that show tomorrow. So that being said, Michael and I talked about before, and then I later on talked to this buddy Marcus. I don't know. I had some weird vision that there were 14 cities that were going to be in chaos and possibly burning. Jaco had a similar version, and then somebody that never saw our interviews had a dream about that years and years before us. Then he just told me about it recently. So to me, it adds up that they're going to be creating chaos. Now, it could be as simple as, and I could see this, the government saying, okay, all the subsidy that we've been giving the illegals, we're going to take away tomorrow. That would throw them into chaos alone. Because when you take somebody that's entitled and you take their entitlements away, they lash out.
Hmm.
So that alone can throw these cities into chaos.
Well,
So
that's what one of the things I was saying on Friday was exactly that. It's like they have the switch in that because they're funding those debit cards. All they have to do is turn the funding off, and then these people go hungry. And when they
that's
go
it.
hungry, they turn violent.
That's
Right?
all they have to do.
Yeah.
All they have to do. So it's not as sophisticated as everybody thinks. They don't need to give them any orders whatsoever. They just put them in
Let
the
them
right
go.
places,
Yep.
and then they cut them off. And then there you go. They're gonna want to fend for themselves. They're not gonna know what to do, and you're gonna have some
Well, they will
issues.
know what to do because this is what they did in their country. Deal, because that's what they had to do to exist where they come from, right? Not criticizing. It's just that's the way that world is, and they'll do the same thing here because that's what they know how to do, and we're
Well,
seeing it already in certain cities.
I would say it would be worse here for a couple reasons. One is they don't have envy in their country of what others have. They have envy here of what we have.
Right.
Plus, when you rip the entitlements away suddenly, that's pulling off a band-aid. Plus, they're all alone in their mind, even though they may be with other illegals. And then when you add on the factor that we have more stuff to steal and get, right? And
Yep.
more things of value in this country. All of those factors add on top of it, and it's a scary situation. And the fact that we're just wholesaling ignoring this is
Ah,
means
good
it
point. Good
means
point.
means
I'm glad you went there. I'm glad
it's
you went there.
calculated, is what
Yes.
that means.
Yeah. I'm glad you went there about the ignoring because people are starting to really wake up now to this because they're seeing it. I always said this, people wake up when it shows up on their front porch, right? And they're starting to see it now. Even around here, anywhere that I'm talking to people, they're like, yeah, we're seeing them on the street corners, we're seeing them here, we're seeing the violence. There was one lady who posted yesterday that she went to the drugstore in New York City and everything's behind lock and key. And they said, well, the theft is happening 30, 40 times a day. We had to do it. Otherwise, we had out of business. And she's like, I can't believe the city I'm living in. So now it's showing up on people's front porch. Now they're waking up to it. But the question then becomes, okay, we've got anywhere from 12 million to 20 million. Michael Jaco posted a number in yesterday. Oh, no, it was sorry, that was for something else. But 12 million plus that we have in here of these people. That's enough to create chaos in pretty much every major city and a lot of the smaller cities as well. So now that people are waking up, the question then becomes, okay, what are they going to do? Well, we got a convoy coming up that they're putting together. I think it's February 6th or 8th or something like that. I don't remember the date
February
offhand.
3rd.
February 3rd? Okay.
Yeah.
Again,
I'm
is
I'm
is
I'm
that going
the
to be enough?
I'm one of their main consultants to
Okay.
that.
Outstanding.
And I'm not promoting it yet on purpose.
Okay. Well,
Not that you can't, just I have some I have some concerns and things that need to be addressed and so on and so forth.
Okay, good. We can have that talk because I'm wanting to know more about the impact we can really have because people are looking for that now.
My wife and I.
Yeah.
So they're still buying the narrative to this day, from what I hear. But it's that, and people, you and I were talking about this offline. I get frustrated because the people don't understand how hard we work in the background and how much of a fight it is just to get our shows up.
Yeah.
So I did some investigation since Thursday, as I was telling you about on Twitter and True Social. And sorry, guys, True Social shadow banning me. I know some of you are locked in, loving True Social. I'm just letting you know it's happening 100%. Twitter, wow, they are shadow banning me. This is under Elon Musk. Now, under Elon Musk, I also lost my big account. Under Elon Musk, it got deleted. Then I went to my secondary account, and that one got shadow banned immediately. So we did a lot of testing just to see if that was the case. And it sure is. Sure is. Guess what? TikTok, Lisa just did a wonderful video this weekend on January 6th. It says, she was very sweet. She goes, never forget January 6th. Screw Big God's own Louis Herms was there blocking one of the Capitol doors from being breached, along with the QAnon shaman, Jake Chansley. Many lives were saved because of these two brave men. They calmed the crowd by assuring them that this is not what President Trump wanted. Trump solidified this with a personal message for all to go home. Louis Herms played this message over the loudspeaker for all to hear, and afterward the angry crowd calmed down and started to disperse. So we're very proud of that, and guess what? She was nice enough to put that up on TikTok with proof, so it wasn't conjecture, it was proof, and they took it down. It says, removed for integrity and authenticity. If that wasn't the most integrity-filled and authentic moment, I don't know what is. And then they give another violation reason. It's civic and election integrity. Crazy. By the way, you want to see how fast they pulled it down? We got a total of 3 hearts on it before they yanked that thing down. So they yanked it down within minutes.
Wow.
Minutes. So clearly they're targeting our channel.
Well, they don't want any information on J6 coming out, because the narrative is falling apart and they're doing everything they can to maintain the fake narrative. Right. And we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to keep pushing. Sorry. Just going to have to do it out there. Yeah. Wow.
Pretty sad. So we are being hammered, guys, at every level. So when we ask you to like, follow, and share, and go check and make sure you're still subscribed, say on Rumble, it's not hyperbole. It's not just something to say. We have to fight against these crazy algorithms and people that are physically pushing buttons, it looks like now, to prevent the word from getting out.
My guess is it's AI more than is humans. I think AI is probably involved here because there's way too much content.
At least AI is flagging it. I don't know if AI is taking it down or the humans are taking it down, but you're right. You would have to be right. But it's crazy. So, guys, the reason why it's so imperative to like, share, follow, do everything you can is because we have to. We're fighting against these algorithms. Yeah. They only want certain information to get out. We're not one of the protected class. We're the opposite. And even Robert will point out to you, it's really sad. What we've been seeing lately is we break news right here, and 2 or 3 days later, it's on channels with 5 times more viewership than us. And we're just like shocked. In fact, you mentioned the 13-day calendar. That video got stolen, which we knew it would. Somebody retimed it so I was talking faster. They cut our Screw Big Gov logo off the front and off the back, right? And she's got hundreds of thousands of views on it right now. Yeah. So guys, just so you know, and then we say, hey, buy a product to try to help us, and people get upset. I'm like, you really don't know what's going on here, y'all. we are working our asses off over here.
When I first told Bruce, I said, Bruce, it takes me, 6 to 8 hours to prepare for a 1 hour show. He said, no way, that can't be. And then now he's doing a morning show as well, and he's realizing it's a lot of work,
It is
especially if you want to put content out there that's at least somewhat vetted. We're never going to be 100% on that, but we certainly don't put garbage out there. We make sure we,
100%.
we have a lot of information on it. There's some stuff popping today that I looked at, and they go, I don't have enough information to bring it forward. So we'll wait. I'll keep watching it, and as there's more information, if more information comes out, because a lot of times these things pop and they look really good, but you never hear anything else out. So probably not true. Like today, the AI generated pictures of Trump and little girls, right? You're seeing a lot of that coming out because he's not
Yep.
listed in the Epstein
He's not
files.
listed.
Not listed.
What do we say though? We said 3 weeks ago this is where this is going to go.
Yep.
He's not going to be listed, and everybody's going to start acting as if he is.
Yep.
Crazy. These people are wacko.
And they're putting these artificially generated images of him there, and people are picking up on it immediately as no, this is AI, this isn't real, this is an old picture of Trump, with his daughter, and they replaced the daughter with some little girls or something. Not hard to do in Photoshop. I can do it. I have that skill. Craziness. Hey, what happened to Lloyd Austin?
You
Oh
tell
my
me.
gosh. Yeah. Here's a guy who is supposed to be available 24/7, and he just disappeared. He went to the hospital and didn't tell anyone. Uh, Washington remained in collective shock. This is from Breitbart on Sunday as more information trickled out about Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin being admitted to the hospital's intensive care unit for days and failing to disclose it to the president, the national security advisor, members of Congress, and to the public, which he's supposed to do. The U.S. had just last Wednesday warned Houthis to stop targeting U.S. military and commercial ships in the Red Sea, and the next day the U.S. banned things that nobody would ever want to associate with. So
Right.
they put a poison pill in their mind about what the other side really is, to the point where the Trump hatred, the Trump derangement syndrome is real. It's an actual thing, right? Because you can talk to people who are on the other side, and you just mention the name Trump and they vomit. And they start spitting, and they're just out of control, the anger. And it's like, this is not normal. This is not normal behavior. This is the result of serious indoctrination, probably MK Ultra, to a large part of the population.
They're MK Ultra.
Yeah.
That's what the media's already. If anybody studies Tavistock, DARPA, the CIA, really what MK Ultra was about after the first phase of drugging and brainwashing people was how do you do mass brainwashing? And generally it's spellcasting. It's repetition of message over and over and over until they start to believe it's true. Because what happens is their subconscious picks up on it more than their conscious does. And then when they go to repeat something, they're literally repeating what they think is new information from their subconscious. And it's not.
It's not.
But that's part of the MK Ultra. Very sophisticated, but it works. Proven it works. Huge. I've seen it work firsthand. So it's a scary thing.
And, the challenge that we have, you and me and all of us on this side, is that we can't necessarily have logical conversations with them because they're just not there. They're just not available for that. And this woman who posted this on Facebook, I mean, she got slammed so hard. Is she even hearing any of it? Or does she think everyone's crazy and she's the only one who's on the right side of this? Who knows? Who knows? I didn't unfriend her. I wanted to see the result of that. They go back and try to find that post again and just see what happened because it wasn't pretty. I mean, she was.
But that's a good result, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that we, as people that actually understand that's going on, are now standing up and saying, no, we're not going to take this BS message anymore.
Right.
We're not going to have it. Right. If you look at all the events in history that were race related, they were all Democrat propagated, all of them. every single one of them, starting with the Civil War and so on and so forth, all the way down. It was all Democrat propagated.
Yep.
But yet they've done really good flipping that message over on the conservatives. But what's interesting is with this in the direction that we're going in this country, I really believe that now we're fighting back. And if you hate Trump, that's fine, but you have to give him credit for one thing. He actually gave us the spine that we were looking for.
Yep.
Because he fought back on a level publicly that was so brazen. So everybody gets upset. Oh, if Trump was only nicer, or if Trump would do this, or
Oh,
he's
those
just
mean tweets. I couldn't deal
he's
with
so
them.
he's so mean and nasty. It's
Yep.
like, okay, hold on. So he had to set the bar high, right? So he sets the bar really high with his nasty tweets, hoping that we'll just do 1/3 of that and start calling people out for their BS. And now people are doing it. So because of Trump, I believe we've developed a spine, we being the American people, and we've got a lot of work to do still.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of damage that's been done, and like I said, it's a little sad that we're waking up a little bit late in the game, but it's better late than never, I guess, because if this goes on another year. I was talking to Mitch Axelrod about this on the weekend. I saw him on Saturday, and he was saying I couldn't imagine if this goes on another year where we're going to be, and I'm like, yeah, it's 25% worse than it is today if you look at the 4 years that Biden would be in charge. It's accelerating. The momentum's certainly accelerating in the wrong direction, by the way.
You still believe that bullshit after all this time? I mean, literally, she is going off. She wants to talk to all of them now. So she's willing to have these uncomfortable conversations. We had a person, I think it was FedEx, drop off a package on Saturday. She happened to be in a garage in place, and he had a mask on. She said, "Why are you wearing the mask?" He says, "Oh, well, my company," and he blamed it on Costco, I think, or something. But she looked past him, and his partner didn't have a mask on.
Mm-hmm.
So she knew that was BS. And she called him out, and she goes, you can't be delivering that here. Why? You need to take off your mask if you're going to come into my garage and set that in here. Well, oh no, it's actually on the driveway. He says, "What are you talking about?" "Nope, sorry. You're not delivering that if you're wearing a mask." So he took his mask off, and she watched him. He kept it all the way off. So maybe he kept it off forever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we have to have these uncomfortable conversations. I'm telling you, she's 5'0" You know what I mean?
Oh, but she's pure fire, though. Come on.
She is. That's an understatement.
Yeah, we really do, and that's the thing. It's like so many people, and I fall into that category too. Don't want the confrontation. But the appeasement is why we've been asleep for so long, because we trust. Right? We trust in our government. We've been indoctrinated to that, all our school system. We trust in our leaders. We trust in all of this, and now we're just kind of waking up. It's like, what do you mean? I can't trust any of them. I can't even trust the church leaders. I can't even trust the musicians, the actors, the actresses, all the people that we grew up revering. All of a sudden, now we realize these people are on the wrong side. They're playing for the wrong team. We didn't even know. Phoebe and I are at a point where we don't even watch any movies anymore because it's so much indoctrination. It's like, why bother?
It is indoctrination. That's for sure. Or predictive programming. Either one, they're dangerous. So it's interesting though. Now here's some good news. So as you know, we live in Southern California, and there's still a lot of maskers. It's a very low percentage, maybe 10% now, which is great. But here's what we noticed differently. The people before, if you didn't have a mask on, they became very aggressive against you. Remember that, right?
Yep.
Now we're noticing with maskers, people are shaking their heads. They're walking by going, "Are you stupid?" I mean, other people now, the tables have turned completely, and it's kind of beautiful to watch where people are like shaming them. "Why are you wearing a mask? Well, why would you? Doesn't make any sense. Do you not pay attention?" I mean, and I think people are starting to come out in force. And that's why I say we have to have these conversations, because one little thing that could be that. It could be on the 9/11 towers, 3 towers fell. Come on, believe that with two fake planes. And regardless, then you have the 13 month calendar, or the fact that our Gregorian calendar is messed up. Use something as an in. You only need one, and then they open up, and they're going to get all the other information within months.
Yep.
It's like a fire hose.
Yep. There was a lady that I ran into on Saturday, masked, and I was having a hard time hearing her because she was doing the mask mumble thing. So I stepped closer to her, and she steps back. Really? I said, "I can't hear you. You're mumbling under that mask." She never took it off. Well.
These people.
Time Time for some refreshing spray here. Whew. Gotta clean this stuff off, Lewis. You really got to clean this stuff off. It's crazy. Hey, folks, I want to tell you about Neumi Skin. I love Neumi Skin. It's really making me look younger. Certainly, if you look at Bruce looks 10 years younger. Look at Lewis.
He does.
He's about 20 years younger since he started using it as well.
I am.
It's a glutathione spray, which is really good for your detoxing and helps lighten your skin, helps tighten the pores up, ladies, so you don't have to put so much makeup on. There are a lot of women I noticed that are using the spray a couple of times a day. They actually say they go out now without makeup. I've been hearing that again and again. They're going out without makeup. Why? Because their skin is lightening up and the pores are tightening.
Glowing too.
They're glowing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's a phenomenal product. We really love it. We're big supporters of Neumi. We invite you, if you are ready to do something new in this fresh, fake new year, to really take charge of your health. We have the glutathione product, which is Neumi Swish, NutraSwish, which is really, really good. Use that 3 times a day. And we also have the Neumi Hers for the ladies. Helps with libido, helps with cramps, helps with all kinds of stuff.
I renamed it. It's Hers for Him.
Hers for Hims. Yeah, exactly right.
Life is good.
Life is good for the guys, right? Get it for your lady, no question. So we invite you to go take a look, have a look at what we've found to be a really, really great product, and we are very picky. Just go over to renegademedia.tv/energy, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. Got a lot here. New York City in chaos today. What now? This was kind of funny because being from
New York,
the Holland Tunnel, blocked off by these Hamas supporters. It's kind of funny that they would do such a thing. Hamas supporters blocked 3 New York City bridges. The Brooklyn Bridge, that's a pretty famous one. The Manhattan Bridge, that's pretty big. Williamsburg Bridge and the Holland Tunnel. The organizer of the blockades, the Palestinian Youth Movement, issued a press release stating their demands, which include dissolution of Israel, an end to Zionism, is a precondition to peace in Palestine. Don't think this is the way you go about that, but I could be wrong. What do you think?
2 things. Let me ask a question. Who created the narrative that they were Hamas supporters? Was that what news media was that?
This was Gateway Pundit.
Okay, and they said Hamas supporters because
Hamas
Gateway's
supporters
all on
blocked 3 New York City bridges, right? That's their quote.
Gateway's all on the pro-Israel thing. We already know that this is what we want to warn you about, because Gateway does some really good work, but there's this pro-Israel thing that's really wacky that's going on, and they're all in, and I think they're being guided for a certain reason. Now, the one thing that these protesters, and they're probably more pro-Palestine protesters, by the way. That's why I ask you why the Palestine people are wonderful. Israeli people, a lot of them are wonderful. Iranian, Persians, some of the best people on the planet. You know what I mean? So we tag all these things. Just remember, all these tags are meant for a reason, and that is to brainwash you. That's what the tags are for. So when Gateway Pundit uses that, I think it's extraordinarily irresponsible, but whatever. The point is maybe they did have one good point, the end of Zionism. Yeah. Okay. I think that's a fair request. If you look at the history and the Khazarian mafia and who controls all the entertainment and the 1,000 major corporations in this country and so on and so forth, less than 2%. So there's something to be said there, and they really have to pay attention. Now, if somebody else would go down the whole road, is that they're gonna tell you that religion is actually satanic. And I know there's a lot of people on here, and Christians and people who have studied that would go down that road. I'm not going down that road, because I believe there are good Jews still left in this world, and all Jews evildoers. In the reality is the truth is somewhere in the middle, as it always is.
Then you make a good point. I mean, the idea is always divide, and they teach us to generalize. And the truth is, I got a lot of Jewish friends, great people. I grew up in Long Island, for gosh sakes. It's the largest Jewish community in the whole nation. It's on Long Island, and in Montreal, when I grew up there, there's a lot of Jewish people. I had Jewish friends growing up the whole time there too. It's kind of funny. I'll tell you a quick story, because I went to Catholic school, and I never saw a Jewish woman until I got to college. Some of the most beautiful women. I gotta tell you, blew my mind. It's like, what have I been missing all my life?
So
Anyway,
my
yeah.
my son went to Israel, and
Mhm.
he came back and he says, "Oh my, those are the most beautiful women on the planet." So he loved an Israeli women the way they look also. I have an affinity towards my wife only, so I don't get into that
Yep.
conversation.
That's not a conversation for today.
Although I will say there's two types of women in Russia: phenomenally gorgeous or hideous looking. There's no in between. I don't know what it is about Russians and Ukrainians.
What do
I'm
we
like,
talk about black and white? We don't do black and white here, you know?
I know. That's why I don't see much.
In Jersey, but you get with New Yorkers to push back. Finally, it's been a long time
Yeah.
coming to start to see it.
Well, whatever you're protesting, shutting down. How do they think shutting down the freeway is going to accomplish their goal?
I can't answer that question. It just,
Because
other than getting noticed and getting in the media, but besides that, there's no valid reason for it.
even their supporters get crazy and pissed off when they can't get someplace on the freeway.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the strategy behind it. And they say they want to make the news, or they want to get attention and so on and so forth.
But it's negative attention.
Yeah, I don't think, and I don't think any attention is good attention. I think it's backfiring on them, and it's sad because there is something to be said about the truth is always in the middle. And this is what the division is really disgusting right now, and this is what it's all on one side or all on another. Can we not have a regular conversation between each other? I mean,
Ah, you're so
it
brilliant. That's exactly what's needed. And it's not what we get. We get the division, we get the black, we get the white, and we get nothing in between. And in between is where all the life is happening. It's where all the
right?
colors are, right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
It's exactly right. One of my favorite things, I'll bring it up here if I can find it, while you're continuing here, and I'm going to have to bring it up again and again and again because I
Keep
hope it
reminding people.
resonates.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll find it here while you're doing whatever you're doing over
All
there,
right,
buddy.
we'll go on to our next story and then we'll jump back to this when we can. 27 states filed to oppose Colorado's disqualification of Trump under the 14th Amendment. The majority of Americans opposed the decisions in Colorado and Maine to disqualify former President Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot. A reversal of the Colorado decision is now supported by 27 states. Where are the other states? The Supreme Court could oppose the underlying theory under the 14th Amendment. We'll see. Let's go into the Supreme Court. It's relatively rare to see states opposing the expansion of their own authority vis-a-vis Congress. The brief reinforces the view of states like Colorado as outliers in the country, embracing this anti-democratic theory. And if you know anything about the 14th Amendment, Article 3, he would have to have been convicted of insurrection, which he was not. He wasn't even charged with insurrection. So
Mhm.
the way I look at this, they don't have a case to begin with, and
No, they're all nothing burgers.
they're all nothing burgers.
This just helps Trump's popularity. So
It
in
does.
essence, this is probably part of the movie. I love it. I don't have any problem with this whatsoever. I do still have a concern with us talking about the 2024 election when there's so much proof on 2022 and 2020 that we need to focus on fixing first and
Yep.
foremost. So Kerry Lake's now on the 2024 bandwagon. We know Trump's been on there for a while. Everybody's talking 2024. What are you going to do if that election doesn't come off and do very well?
Well, it's Russian roulette, right? So you've got all the cards on the table, all your money's in the center, and you're hoping for, eight black to show up, and it doesn't. Then what? We've got another 4 years of this shit show that we've been living. Excuse the French.
We're just gonna cry steal again? No, the best case scenario, and I think this is really sad, we would have civil war. And because what happens is that there's going to be at least 100 million people that come out to vote for Trump in November of this year if there's election. Again, I don't think there's going to be.
Yes.
But if there's election, you're going to have that many people come out to vote, 100 million, and those people suddenly get disenfranchised again. uh, They're probably just, a lot of them are just going to lose their mind,
Hmm.
and that's not going to be good for anybody.
No, and that brings up, going back to all these illegals. I mean, they could end up with riots in multiple cities and create a lot of civil unrest. And I don't think American citizens are going to sit back and watch this happen this time. And maybe that's their plan, their game plan. And then, the Biden world, they could pull out the War Powers Act.
Sorry, even some people watching right now and a lot of conservatives, they will jump on that bandwagon because that's part of the MK Ultra. Because you're going to see a repeating narrative over and over and over, and they're going to sell you on the idea. They're going to propagandize you, and they're going to brainwash you into believing that we need to support now whoever is perpetrating this war.
Right.
Just be very careful of that because that's their goal. But if you know their goal, it should be easy to avoid. The key is forgetting their goal. That's why we repeat that time and time again. I have that image up for you.
Pop it up, my friend.
So, and I did this a couple of years ago just so people understand the construct that we're in. It's not all black and white. The bad guys, they want you, they need you, the satanic Freemasons need you to believe that everything is black and white because that's the division of duality. It's very important for us to be divided, for them to win, right? But the reality is, if we take a deep breath, in almost every conversation, there's a full spectrum of color, right? And it's avoided,
Yep.
right? So I would say keep your mind open to many others and alternate scenarios than what you hear. And that's the type of growth I believe personally that we need to really make a difference moving forward. You know me, just today, an article was sent over and I read it and I'm like, okay, well, there's contradictory. That doesn't make sense.
Hmm. Yep.
We have to really be smart and we have to use common sense and we have to slow down before making a judgment.
I want to take a quick moment to let you guys remind you that to go over to screwbiggov.com, find out all about what Lewis is up to there. RememberYourOath.com, Cages, the movie. He's got other films there as well. And there's a swag button in the bottom right. And if you want to follow him on social media, and there's a new TikTok account too, I believe. But you can follow him there on Telegram. I think that's probably the one where it's the most popular. Best way to do it is click on the social media button to find him, because Telegram, sometimes you type in ScrewBigGov and you get fake accounts or you get no accounts. Which is interesting the way their system works. So go over screwbiggov.com. Find out everything that Lewis is up to.
And again, I didn't hear, did you mention your Telegram channel?
No, I did not mention my Telegram channel.
It's important because what you do there, I think, it's extra work for Robert. He doesn't pat himself on the back, but he does extra work for you guys to make it easier for you. So let him know what you do on your Telegram channel that I think is pretty unique.
Yeah, follow me on Telegram, Renegade Media, and email me, robert@renegademedia.tv. And I do post the videos that we use here on there, but I also post a lot of other stuff. I was away last week doing moving and didn't have a chance to do a whole lot, but I was still posting as stuff came up. So we keep the conversation going there, and you're certainly welcome to comment. I read all the comments. It's always good to have a conversation rather than a monologue. So you can find me on Telegram at Renegade Media. There's a Border Patrol agent that did something really terrible, and he's getting in trouble for it. Maybe we should talk about him. Kind of a sad story, but I think it's worth mentioning. U.S. Border Patrol agent under investigation after he was caught returning migrants to Mexico after they had already crossed into the U.S. near El Paso, Texas. Federal government confirms.
Wow.
He's
That's a
doing his
dastardly
job,
guy.
and he's
Yes.
under investigation.
Dastardly.
What a loser. I think we got to get rid of him. We got to pull his badge, right?
You can't do it. We can't have that. We can't have you escorting them back over the border.
Where do we find these people?
Isn't it crazy though?
And we're being sarcastic, just in case you needed to know. We're being sarcastic.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Sark. Okay. And if, for you that don't know what Robert and I are talking about, many times we'll post something or say something that's clearly sarcastic, and people go, "I'm so upset that you have that opinion or that view." And we're like, Oh my God. So
Uh,
now we have to say something like sarcasm
sarcasm.
or parody or whatever we want to say. Um, it is very interesting and sad at the same time that we've come to this place where people doing the right thing are constantly the ones that are getting held accountable.
Yep.
But guys, you have to understand if you read about how the color revolution is created, this is exactly the way it's created, is you demonize those that are good and you lift up those that are not doing good, right? And just look, I don't know, look at all the name brands, how important it is to have a name brand on your body, right? Our perception of what's good is been really, really twisted. It's not just marketing, it's not just business, it's not dollars. It is calculated from years and years ago of how the controllers would get us from where we were, which was a lot of freedom, to being indentured servants. This is their goal. And eliminating the population is part of that also, but most of you know that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. Everything that's good they make bad. Everything that's bad they make good. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, the idea of Satan and Satanism and all of that is exactly that. It's taken Satan, who is traditionally the bad guy, and now raising him to the position of exalted. Right? He's the good guy now, and it's
That's
completely
right.
flipping it. And they take all the Christians who believe in Christ. Well, you're the bad guys. You believe in Christ, and no, Satan is the way to go. Completely flipping it. And what's really freaky to me is how many people buy into it.
Yeah.
It's like a growing thing. It's a trend here. It's a fashionable thing to do to believe in Satan now and worship him. Okay, uh, you know,
Well, what they do is we talked about a minute ago, but they want everything black and white.
right?
The things that they don't want black and white are the things that are clearly just black and white. The things that are just good versus evil, that's where they want to convolute the whole mix. Look at how convoluted the abortion talk is. I mean, it can go in so many different areas on that, and it's pretty basic. Their gender be while they're a minor, right?
Yeah,
That's pretty clear that that's not something that should be done, but it's still convoluted around that conversation. Porn, books inside of little kids' libraries, right? It's pretty black and white.
yeah.
Nope, we don't want that. But that's where they convolute it. So just understand these sickos, whatever is should absolutely be black and white, you're going to notice that's what is messy as much is mud. It's just the worst. Everything that should have hues in it, they try to tell you it's just black and white.
Yep,
So this is a
yep.
game. It's literally just everything's opposite. Everything is opposite.
It's fascinating to me. One of the things when I studied, my whole career has been marketing, 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 and understanding the psychology of marketing and understanding why people buy and how we motivate them and inspire them. And it was like the biggest mistake ever was teaching the government how to do marketing, right? Because I always regret having seen that happen where the government's using the marketing against us. So I don't mind if you're selling coffee, if you're selling a product and it's good for a person and you're doing a little bit of marketing to help them understand that, this might be a good product or a good service for them, fine. But when the government does it and completely flips the script on you and you think, oh, the Patriot Act, I'm a patriot, I'm going to be for the Patriot Act when it's actually the anti-Patriot Act, if you really
It's
look at it,
exactly
right? It's like
great
anything.
analogy.
Yeah.
Great analogy.
Yeah, they do take away and they use the marketing and they give you the idea that it's something positive when in fact if you dig into it you realize it's very very negative. I did an hour show last year on the Patriot Act. I went through it point by point and you go through that and it's like, oh my God, we lost so many of our rights with the stroke of a pen after 9/11. And you don't think that that came out of nowhere, right? It's like Obamacare didn't come out of nowhere. That was 20 years in the making. How long was the Patriot Act being written before they found a way? And everyone said okay to it right after 9/11 because they're all in fear. There was no fight, no pushback. Now the question is, why does it keep getting reauthorized? Even under Trump, it got reauthorized.
Well, I understand under Trump, we needed, if we're going to take down a deep state, we temporarily need to use those surveillance apparatuses.
Okay.
So we're going to use them against them. This is a deal I believe he cut with the NSA. Um, because they articulated how important they're going to need it right now. So I don't see that moving forward after the deep state has fallen. I would think we're going to retract, as I said many times. I think 90% of the government issued laws or rules, and 90% of even just legalities are going to be gone.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be left with a shell of what we have now, because if you just use our judicial, not the branch, but just the judges and the lawyers at all, everything they do is not to help you, we the people. It's all to perpetuate their pocketbooks. So the reason why, if a law is written, somebody writes a counter opinion to it and makes it really messy. And when if you've ever written or read a summons or anything, I've gone through it. It's intentionally messy. They're very, very messy. Sometimes you don't know, are they saying you're guilty or somebody else is guilty? I'm not quite sure. Well, they do that so they can more excuses for it to be as convoluted as possible. So what it does is it does two things. It gets everybody paid over and over and over, and the victim really doesn't make out with anything. And what's most important for them, it's so convoluted that the decision that comes out is literally solely on the judge's hand, unless it's a jury trial. That's how convoluted it is.
Wow.
It's done on purpose.
Well, we see that too. A lot of news articles too. You don't know which is who and who they're talking about, and it switches back and forth, and it's like there are articles I read and it just makes a head spin. And it's like, I can't follow this. Who wrote this? A 6-year-old? And I think sometimes that's intentional, because there's no way that would get through an editor if they didn't want that out there. Somebody would have spotted that and said, we need to clean this language up. This is, it's hard to follow this.
Yes.
So I think Chutkan here is getting a taste of what the Democrats tend to do to the Republicans. She got swatted last night. Please confirm case. Tit for tat?
No.
Is that what's going on here? It's like they're going after our guys. Now we're using the same tools to go after their guys. Is that what's going on?
I think people are getting pissed.
Yeah.
And I believe it's going to boil over, and this is why things need to be fixed quickly, because when we the people have reached our limit, then the next thing that we do is we organize and then go through militias and then start taking, I'm just saying, I see on the future, if things that don't get fixed, I see vigilantism being very, very popular. Let's just put it like that.
Okay. I was at the New Year's Eve party here with the neighbors. Last year, couldn't talk about any of this stuff. Nobody would hear. They were on the other side. They were whatever. This year, all I had was conversation after, I was there for 5 hours, conversation after conversation after conversation about what we talk about here. A lot of them said, I want to watch your show. I was giving out business cards, watch our show, watch our news show. They want to be informed. They're asking the questions. Now, the other thing that came up was we're armed and we're going to buy more.
Yep.
Right. And this is where the concerning is. It's like, I don't blame them. It's certainly out here. If you were to dial 911, which we did a couple of years ago, there was an accident right in front of us. And I talked about this the other day. And we dialed 911. It took 20 minutes before somebody actually even answered the phone. And out here, it would be another 20 plus before somebody got out here. So you're looking at 40 minutes plus before you got help. Not doing it. So around here, it's, you've got to take the law into your own hands at some point. I think that's what the fear is. It's like you start getting these people. And so I suggested to them, which was Juana Savin's suggestion a year ago, that we all get together and create a neighborhood watch. And when there's something that's a little odd, we all get together and we don't go individually to go check out what's happening. We go as a group. And they thought that was a great idea. And now we're just looking for, okay, what's the app going to be? And I know somebody who's making an app that would do that kind of thing. What's his name? Damn.
No comment.
No comment. All right.
His name's No Comment.
No comment. Okay. KNOW
Yes,
comment
sir.
or NO comment?
In fact, the changes that are going to be coming to the app is I didn't like the design, so I just about ready to put it out. I'm just not feeling the design because I don't think it was that user friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So this week they should be making those changes. So right around the corner, we should finally get that app and we can organize the way that we need to organize,
Yeah, we
and
do. We do.
you can get with,
And there's a demand
patriots
for it.
in your neighborhood.
People want to
There
organize their
is.
neighborhoods.
It's interesting. Go back to the
Wow.
and that through no prompting of mine
Yeah, no,
whatsoever.
it's the sign of the times, right? And I guess you kind of realize the police really are not on our side like they should be. They're not there to protect us. They were, in fact, what was it in New York? They were no, it was in Canada. We had the pro-Hamas protests, and the cops were handing them coffees and cookies and things like that. They didn't do that during the trucker convoy last year,
No, of
21.
course not.
Yeah, they did the
Of
opposite.
course not.
Yeah. So, you look at that and you say, okay, so law enforcement, are they really on our side? Not really. Okay, so what if something happens? Then we have to protect ourselves is really what the thinking is. It's not unlogical. It's not, it doesn't defy logic. It's very clear to see that's the way we'd be thinking.
Well, think about this. I'm just a lowly bloke that does a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't even have that big of a following, whatever you want to call it, right? And then but I did Truth Tour and a whole bunch of other stuff. But yet the FBI spent the resources on the following. They actually came to my house from wherever they came, maybe DC, maybe a local FBI satellite office. I don't know. They came to my house, interrupted my wife while she was working, then got me there. Then I took them through the house and they interviewed me for hours in the backyard. So they spent the resources on that. They camped out in front of our house for over a year
Wow.
with cameras in their vehicles, which I have pictures of. Imagine the resources that it would take to do that. And then one of my employees who used to come pick me up every single day, because when I had a construction company before this Patriot movement destroyed that company, what happened is he would drive the same route, pick me up about the same time. So clearly they knew about it. They pulled him over about 5 miles from my house in a black car with a blue light. He didn't know what's going on. He said, "Hey, what's going on, guys? What did I do?" "Oh, nothing. Can I see your license?" "Great. Where are you headed?" He goes, "To my boss's house." They go, "Okay." They showed him their FBI badge. They flipped it out and said, "Make sure you say hello to Lewis for us." And they said, "You can go." He was shaking when he got to my house. He didn't know what to do. And I never gave him all the information because I don't want to scare the crap out of him,
Yeah.
right? But this is what they do.
It's intimidation.
And
Yeah.
imagine the resources on one dude with me with not a huge, I'm not Steve Bannon. You know what I mean? So imagine the resources that they're spending out there where they could actually be, protecting and serving. Imagine if your taxpayer dollars were going to that. It's sick. It's really disgusting.
It's clearly not their mandate anymore to protect the American people. That's not what they're there for. I mean, if it wasn't clear before, we should be able to see it now. California story. We always have to have a crazy California story in the mix, and here's one here. Cash-strapped California will ring in the new year by offering free health care to all undocumented immigrants who qualify for the state's government-run health insurance program. Not only that, it goes one change operations as well.
Oh, God. I've been trying to schedule mine, so this timing is perfect.
So let me get this straight. You live here. You're taxed to the teeth on everything. You have to pay for your own health care. You come in here illegally. You don't pay any taxes. Free health care, free education, free room and board, and we'll give you a card where we'll give you money every month. No, and there's not an incentive for more people to come here, is that? No, that wouldn't incent anybody.
Is that part of our $1.66 trillion budget?
Yeah, probably.
Got to be included in this.
We're going to skip that story because it just annoys me. AARP, a very, very conservative operation, told 38 million members to get an eighth shot of mRNA. This is on Zero Hedge. And you can see here there's a photograph of what they said. The lobbying group for older Americans just told the thing, what we've been talking about since the beginning. What we told people, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. They're coming around to it because when you start to see it with your own eyes, again, it's in your own neighborhood. It's your aunt, your uncle, your brother, your sister, people you know who are injured or have passed, do this thing. You wake up. Conspiracies, when they become truth. One of those things. Hey, tell us about this wonderful jacket here, Louis.
Isn't that special?
I love it.
So it is a beautiful jacket. It's very, very warm. It's rainproof, and it's got a beautiful Screw Big Up logo in white and yellow, high quality embroidered in it. It's very, very warm. And I just love it. Everybody that has it seems to like it. So go get your jacket. It's reasonably priced. You just go to screwbiggub.com, click on swag, and you can get that gorgeous jacket. Gorgeous.
I love it. I love it. So there were some 10-foot aliens in a mall in Miami.
Ooh, you're not going to like me on this subject, but you go ahead.
No.
Okay.
Tell me what you got.
I could have friends that I completely disagree with.
Of course.
So there's a few of my friends are propagating this narrative. Well, I hate to bust anybody's bubble, but let me point out a couple of facts. I know God forbid we actually talk about facts. It wasn't 2 teenagers. It looks like at least 4 dozen teenagers were running and vandalizing stores, and you put the helicopters up with the spotlights, and tons of them are searching all over the places. All that's regular old protocol, guys. So I think sometimes we jump off too quickly on this stuff. Now, show me the videos, and I'll be like, okay. But to me, I'm having trouble buying this because with all the cameras out there, the fact that we don't have one video, you have some video from a dude up 50 stories, and maybe that could be a alien down. It's some ridiculous thing. That's it.
Yep.
I'm just saying, guys. So don't get upset at me when I'm pragmatic and I tell you that, guess what, Nasara Jasara ain't happening this weekend, and the RV didn't happen 5 weeks ago. I just like to tell you guys the truth. I mean, if you're here for the truth, you're going to get the truth.
That's why they're here. Absolutely. That's why we're
to
here.
Propagate these messages and like another buddy, not Mark Atwood, but another buddy of mine, he's putting the shit all over the place trying to get clicks. And I'm like, hey, come on. I'm not buying it yet. So I do need some more proof on this one. Sorry to hurt everybody's feelings out there, but sometimes I don't think we're going to move the ball forward if we keep getting distracted with fakery. Right? Now, if it really happened, absolutely it's a story that should be told. But let's get some facts and some evidence involved, and let's think pragmatically, right? Don't rush to judgment because it fits our narrative. You know what I mean? Yeah, it would be great to say that in Texas was created by Hillary Clinton and all of her deep state actors, because that, it fits our narrative. But if it's not true, it's not true. So we need to be more responsible than that, in my opinion. And that's not an indictment on Mark Atwood, because he may have more information than I do, but it's more of an indictment on some other people that are stating this as facts that are actually friends of mine, that it's just annoying me.
We have a new segment on the show.
Lewis is annoyed.
This is Drunk or Not. And I want you to, in the chat room, if you think this person is drunk, I want you to write drunk, or I want you to write not. Here we go.
If you believe he engaged in insurrection under the plain meaning of the 14th Amendment, you believe he's ineligible to be president.
Those laws, those are up to the states. They have different laws from state to state. I don't think he should ever have been president. The Constitution. But nonetheless, there is a view of the Constitution in Article 14, Section 3, that he should not be able to run for president. But that's not the point. The point now is that, again, different states have different laws. We don't think in California that it applied in our state. That's what the decision was made here. But anyway, not to go into that, because that's very intricate. What is very clear is that the American people want us to honor our oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Oh my, coming from her, honor our oath, huh?
So drunk or very loose false teeth. I'm not sure which one. I picked drunk.
Drunk, 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 drunk. They're all saying drunk. Yep. Coked up and drunk. Okay. Here's, let's see here. Great actor. Yep, absolutely. Well, they're saying Pelosi's an actor, not drunk. I don't know. The actor's playing drunk pretty good there. That was pretty hard to see. Well, sir, we've come to the end of this festival of news today, and thank you for being the color commentator today. I really appreciated it.
And tomorrow we've got Robert and I will be interviewing Michael Jaco and Alan Fountain, and we'll go into some of the spiritual stuff. Maybe we'll talk about these 9.3-inch feet aliens or whatever the hell they were, skinwalkers walking through Miami. And I maybe there's a setting that they have where, like a vampire, you can't take a picture of them. So maybe I'm just way off, and everybody did see them.
Oh, either way, we're going to have a lot of fun with our guests tomorrow. I can't wait. It looks like it'll be a great show. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We appreciate you. We love you much. And thank you for sharing the show. It really helps us with the algorithm. And make sure you are following our channel, whatever channel you're watching it on right now. Make sure you're following and give it a like. Likes help.